I served 3 years in the U.S. Army, 1966 to 1969. I was trained as a medical corpsman in Vietnam.
Is Dynamite 5-2, request Dustoff.
Dustoff was the call sign of helicopter medical evacuation.
Dustoff 3-1.
There were Dustoff units scattered throughout the country.
Bring the map out with you.
We all had the same radio frequency, just like everyone here knows 911 if you get in trouble.
This is Rebel 6, request Dustoff.
Anybody that needed to be picked up for any reason.
Request Dustoff, request Dustoff.
Key in that frequency, 46.9, and go Dustoff, Dustoff, we need a pickup. When they called into mission,
The type of injury is urgent, shrapnel wounds.
they would say what the nature of the injury is, how many patients they had,
14407.
and then the radio operators that heard it would figure out which unit was closest to where the people that needed help were.
Bobcat Bravo 5, Dustoff 3-1, over.
And they would give us an idea of how long the patients could wait. And they would prioritize a mission urgent, I mean, you need to get them within 2 hours or they could lose life or limb. Priority, they could wait 12 hours. Routine, they could wait 24 hours.
This is Bravo 5, roger. We've got you located. Go ahead and come in from the southwest now, over.
And that allowed the Dustoff units to prioritize their missions to obviously go get the most urgent ones first.
Do you still hear the word Dustoff, Dustoff?
Every day. I think of it because the only guys we lost in my unit in Vietnam are 4 men. They're still missing in action. They were called out in the middle of the night to go pick up some wounded men, and their helicopter never did show up to the location. And we began searching first thing as soon as first light was the next morning, and we had all flown that route before. We'd all been to that camp they were going to pick up the wounded. We flew that route, and we're all looking down thinking we're going to see a helicopter that maybe had an engine failure. Maybe and that's like one good thing about a helicopter, it can auto-rotate down, and so you can just go down and you might hit hard, but it wouldn't be deadly. But we searched and searched. We searched for 2 weeks, flying that route, never found a helicopter. The Air Force brought in planes, fly that route, never found anything. About 4 years after I got back from Vietnam, I found out that helicopter was seen from the air. It was kind of falling through the trees, but they got some guys on the ground 2 or 3 days later. Of course, this is 3 years after they went down. There was no sign of any body parts. Helicopter was sitting upright. It wasn't all burned and broken up. So I've been told they're the only full helicopter crew still missing in action in Vietnam.
How does that feel?
Well, I mean, we all knew every day we were in danger. We could be in danger, could be in severe danger. We knew every flight we got in, we go, this could be my last flight. But obviously we were hopeful that wouldn't be the case. But those guys are like my brothers. I flew with every one of those guys multiple times. And they were the head pilot. He was a great pilot. And so it's, he wouldn't do anything stupid. But so it's just one of those mysteries. There's many still missing in action from Vietnam, and remains have been found of many. But
They never found your 4 friends.
they've never found these 4 men, no. They actually interviewed later on the Viet Cong, the enemy that was in that area, and said, well, like my best buddy had bright red hair, kind of different than the average 5'10", brown-haired, 20-year-old guy.
Right.
And They interviewed some of the villagers that lived in that mountain. Well, do you remember a redhead guy? No. You know, so it's just another sad part of any war. There's just some things will never be answered.
So these guys, all of them were your good friends, or just one of the four?
Well, we were all in the same unit, so we knew each other very closely. But one of them was my best friend. He was the first guy I met in the unit when I joined the unit right before we went to Vietnam. But the two pilots, I flew with them many missions. And
Was the red-headed guy, was that your best friend?
yes.
What
Yeah.
was his name?
Wade Groth.
Do you still remember what he looks like?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I've met his family. I traveled to Ohio and met his mother about a year before she passed on, and took her a patch off my uniform, same patch that Wade would have worn, and gave that to her. I met his cousins. I'm a National Park Service volunteer at the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., and that's what spurred me on to become a volunteer, is my 4 missing guys. First time at the wall, went to panel 39E, found the names of our 4 buddies. Wade Groth, Harry Brown, Jerry Rowe, Alan Gunn. So every day I'm at the wall, I leave a poster for those 4 guys that tells their story. So I think that's worthwhile for the missing in action to not be forgotten. And the only way they won't be forgotten is if there's a physical memory there for people to see and hear about.